Hey guys, welcome back. Now, it's no secret that 343 Industries haven't exactly been everyone's favourite developer since they took over Halo. Granted, filling Bungie's shoes was always going to be like nigh on impossible, but they've made their fair share of blunders along the way that didn't exactly make it any easier for them. However, in light of recent news with Infinite, Reach and MCC PC, have 343 managed to complete one of the best redemption arcs in gaming history? Well, today I want to discuss that and give my opinions. Of course, this ultimately does come down to how you personally view things. There are people who even still think that 343 are too far gone and are totally irredeemable, whereas there are others who never thought they even needed redeeming in the first place. So just bear that in mind, that everyone's views on this are totally different, it's all totally subjective, and remember, keep it clean in the comments. So, to better understand whether 343 have indeed undergone an Arbiter tier redemption arc, we need to first look at why so many believe they need to redeem themselves in the first place. We need to investigate the ground zero, if you will. Well, it all started with Halo 4. Now, despite many enjoying its campaign, the multiplayer was, not great, to say the least. Not only did it double down on armor abilities, one of the most controversial aspects of Reach, but it also removed D-scope and added custom classes, perks, and kill streaks. Granted, they all had different names, but given it was developed and released during Call of Duty's absolute peak, the inspiration drew from it clashed so badly with Halo's traditional gameplay, and as a result, the game died upsettingly fast. However, 343 looked to make up for all these blunders 2 years later in 2014 with the Master Chief Collection, and I shit you not, I don't think I've ever been as hyped for anything before as I was when they announced that literally every mainline Halo game was getting touched up and re-released. Like, the idea of a repopulated Halo 3 and Halo 2 almost just seemed too good to be true, and, well, as we later found out, it kind of was too good to be true. I think really with MCC, 343 just bit off far more than they could chew, and I don't think I really need to go into much detail about what happened at launch. To cut a very long story short, it was one of the worst video game launches in history, nothing worked, and nor did it work for a long time. 343 eventually did come back and fix it, but not for a few years, and it was absolutely not what they needed after Halo 4. Then came Halo 5, which I think goes without saying was probably the most divisive Halo game ever. Not only did the enhanced mobility split the community, but for the first time ever, the campaign was almost universally viewed as bad. After such a damn good marketing cycle with Hunt the Truth and Hunt the Signal and all this other stuff, what we eventually got was not only an immense letdown, but to many, it even retroactively nullified Halo 4's ending, one of the best moments in the entire franchise. Then there was the art style stuff, which really doesn't need any more coverage, but suffice to say, people weren't exactly happy. The game also launched severely lacking in content, and we had to wait months for game modes and weapons that had been in Halo games at launch since like as far back as Combat Evolved. Like hell, we had to wait over 6 months for Infection. Granted, Halo 5 does have a lot of content now, but how the game was at launch and in the months following soured people's views on 343 even more, which was the last thing they needed after MCC and Halo 4. However, after almost 3 grueling years, 2018 would bring us our first beacon of hope. After waiting for the announcement of the elusive Halo 6 for what felt like a fucking decade, at E3 2018, 343 finally delivered, and boy did they deliver. The Halo Infinite trailer was more than just an engine demo, it was a statement of intent. Despite how little they actually showed of the game, they seemed to address most of our biggest complaints with their previous games. For the first time since Halo 3, we're finally back on a Halo ring. There was an emphasis on these sort of grounded Marines, something Halo 5 in particular was severely lacking. They teased a more open level design, directly addressing the many complaints about how linear Halo 5 was, and most importantly, they did the one thing that nobody, even the most optimistic, ever thought they'd do. They took Chief back to his classic Mark 6. And that wasn't even all regarding Infinite. In the months that followed, the slow trickle of news about the game only made everyone think even higher of 343. From the hints at a Reach-style armor customization system, to 4-player split screen, and confirmation that the game is set on Zeta Halo, somewhere fans have dreamed about having a game for years. 343 just continues to fulfill our most optimistic expectations, and then some. Granted, we still know very little about the game, and yes, things could always change, but what we do know so far is almost entirely encouraging, and it absolutely shows that 343 have been listening to us in some areas far more than any of us ever thought they would do. But then, 343 did the inconceivable. They did what even Bungie didn't. They announced the release of every mainline Halo game on PC. Halo has such a dedicated group of fans on PC that have been ignored for like over a decade and yet still have stuck with the franchise, and 343 finally decided that enough was enough, and that PC players deserve to finish the fight, and then some. I think deep down, honestly, we all knew that MCC at some point was gonna come to PC, but never in a million years did we ever expect that it'd come with Reach, and that it'd come to Steam and not be locked to the Windows Store. 343 really turned all of our wildest hopes and dreams into reality, and even the biggest 343 skeptics that I know of applauded them for this move, and honestly, the reaction to this announcement is what gave me the idea to make this video, seeing so many people that are typically anti-343 almost 24/7 praising them is like the entire community has just turned a new leaf. It's truly amazing to see. I mean, hell, the general opinion of 343 as the sort of commanders of the Halo franchise has been like less than favourable, shall we say, across the general gaming community for years, but since Infinite's announcement, and especially since MCC PC's announcement, I've seen an extreme U-turn of opinions and nothing's even released yet. Even the people outside of the Halo community who maybe know less than we do about the games and keep up with them less than we do, even they are U-turning their opinions and starting to love 343, which is a damn good sign. And even better, with the flighting program in place, we won't even have to worry about the possibility of MCC or Infinite releasing in like a completely broken state, because we will have all playtested both those games into oblivion to ensure that doesn't happen. So, with all that in mind, have 343 been redeemed? Well, although I do think it's maybe a little draconian to say that a game developer needed redemption, I think it's undeniable that they've made some missteps along the way. However, in my opinion, I really personally think that they've made up for their mistakes. They've shown without question how much they're listening to our feedback in all its various forms, and they've proven to us that they're acting on it as well. Infinite so far and MCC PC have shown us without question that they're putting their money where their mouth is, and I think that's more evident now than it's ever been. Another thing that I think we in the Halo community sort of accidentally take for granted quite a lot is the way that they interact with the community, because it's something that you just wouldn't ever expect from any AAA developer. Like, the fact that 343 employees are regularly part of debates and conversations on Twitter and Reddit and the like is something that you would be really hard-pressed to find anywhere else in the AAA industry. And I mean, hell, I know plenty of content creators for other Juggernaut franchises that literally dream of having as much interaction with the devs as we do with 343. Like, I look at the Zombies community, for example. Like, they would do anything to be able to just casually talk to Jason Blundell on Twitter in the way that we can just casually strike up a conversation with Grim or Sketch or Postums or Jesse's. Like, it's one of the things that I don't think we can quite appreciate how well we have it, but we really, really do. But this video wasn't just about my opinion. I want to hear yours in the comments too. Do you agree with me that 343 have made up for their mistakes recently? Or do you maybe think that it's too early to tell yet and that we all need to just wait for Infinite to see if they really have done? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments, and remember fellas, just keep it civil. After seeing so many people do such a sharp U-turn in their opinions recently, I couldn't help but throw my hat in the ring. So, I think that's about all for today, guys. Remember, I want to hear your honest, straight from the heart thoughts down below in the comments, so don't forget to leave them down there. I want to give a huge thank you to Gage Morrill and Savageon, along with everybody else, for the extremely generous support over on Patreon. At times like these, when content creators like myself are under attack from people who want to censor the internet without having a fucking clue how it actually works, it's really more appreciated than ever. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.